right, welcome back to the Ludus podcast. We've been having a great time managing the gym here. Ain't that right?
Yeah, man. It's been a while since we've been on the podcast, but things have been grinding out here.
So if this is your first time on the podcast, my name is Daniel Navia.
My name's Brandon Ward.
And we are co-owners of the Ludus Gym. And we're excited to chat today, man. We're going to talk Netflix documentaries. We're going to talk about trending diets. We're going to talk about trainers and Instagram trainers versus real trainers. Yeah, that should be a good one. Yeah. All right, so make sure you get yourself some coffee. I got my little one here. Brandon, he likes to drink more matcha.
Matcha, yeah.
Yep.
Some chai, some matcha, keep it chill.
A little bit, yeah. So let me take my sip. And let's dive in. Have you guys watched the Biggest Loser documentary?
Yeah, I watched that. That thing's controversial, man. It's gotten a lot of attention out here.
It is. If you don't know about The Biggest Loser, it was one of the most popular shows on weight loss national network TV. To give you a gist of it, think of this. There's a grand prize, I believe it was like $250,000, right, to the winner.
Yeah, I think the $250,000.
And what you do is you go and you fly. Well, nowadays it's considered like a fitness retreat. You go and you stay at a house on a ranch. They give you the meal plan, they give you the training, and you pretty much go to town. And whoever loses the most amount of weight wins the $250,000, right? Incentive through the roof, like sign me up, right? So here's where it gets controversial. Some of the people who will participate in this show are now upset because, one, they feel like they're victims to the show, that they were abused. And then secondly, they feel like they didn't have what's called an aftercare program, meaning that once they lost all the weight, they were let loose back into reality and they weren't told you need to monitor your food, you need to continue to exercise in order for you to keep the weight off. And some of these participants, if not most of them, gained twice as much weight back.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think that because they're big to begin with. So they're a lot larger now than you can imagine. So let's hear your thoughts, Brandon, on some of that stuff. And if you have not checked it out, definitely check it out because you're going to get yourself an entertaining couple of episodes.
Yeah, man, I'll say the documentary was entertaining. It shed some light on some stuff that I didn't know. One thing that was pretty crazy is that they continually look for larger and larger people to cast on the show as the seasons went on so that the weight loss would be more and more dramatic. Right, so imagine if the first couple of seasons where people were coming in at 250, 240 pounds, about like the third or fourth or even like the fifth season, they got people in the 400s and 500s and they had these people go out and just like run for days.
Run.
It's like,
mind you, 480 pounds running, imagine the impact on the joints.
On the joints.
Exactly. Like, screw your knees, think about your ankles.
Everything, yeah, man. And circulatory system, your heart, that kind of, like, they could have started with, hey, man, we're going to go for a hike. And that would have got some weight loss, right? But they just went from 0 to 1,000, dude.
What's the medical term when your muscles, like, attack your body and they produce too much metabolic weight?
Oh, rhabdomyolysis.
Yes.
Yeah, rhabdo.
I think every participant suffered from that.
So yeah, there was in the documentary, there's one woman, I forget how heavy she was when she started, but she talked about like to get on the show. So they put a bunch of people who they wanted to cast, twice as many people they were going to accept on the show. And they flew them out to a beach in California somewhere. And they had all these heavy set people on the beach and they're like, you're going to run a mile from this point to that point. And whoever makes it, whatever the number, let's say it's 10 people, whatever 10 people make it, y'all on the show. Everybody else go home. This woman, man, credit to her, like she has some willpower. She's like, I'm gonna get on this show. I need to make a change in my life, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, she ended up getting rhabdo. Damn near died on the beach. They had to medevac her to a hospital. And then she spent like the first couple of weeks of the show in the hospital recuperating. They gave her the option of going home and she was like, nah, I'm going to the house. But because she had rhabdo, she couldn't exercise. And then the trainers were pissed off because this woman can't exercise. And so the way she stayed on the show, she started sabotaging people.
Yeah, and that's always good for reality TV. When you start creating some drama internally, it's like, all right, now we got viewers. We can promote some a villain in the show, per se. And then what was crazy, too, is like the physician that was on staff bumped heads with the trainers. And then they weren't allowed to meet each other because they hated each other so much. So the physician was encouraging the participant to do whatever she needed to do, and the physician was like, do not listen to the trainers. Do not do anything that they tell you. So you have this cross friction of the physician telling you don't do anything because you already had this medical experience happen, and then you got the trainers like push it. They're like digging her into the ground, and it creates like a turmoil. And obviously that's good for reality TV, but then you got the whole body dysmorphia issue. You got the health issue. Then you have the whole outlook of fitness, right? Like you think the psychology. Now this lady's gonna always remember fitness as being this torturous, negative thing. And that just killed the whole entire fitness journey for her, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, like there ain't no coming back from that.
And then you see what happened with her. She started getting the weight back. I mean, and I think to back it up a little bit, not to talk about that specific woman, but to talk about like Biggest Loser in a whole, like oftentimes when people can get that heavy, right? There's a metabolic issue, a medical issue involved. However, there's a lot of psychological, like a lot of psychological trauma around eating, body dysmorphia, disordered eating, emotional eating. And the show didn't address any of that crap, which I think is probably why a lot of those people, outside of getting aftercare, like they didn't figure out why they gained all that weight in the first place. And they didn't learn like, this is how you're supposed to eat. They went on there to go, get a check and lose some weight and think that's going to be the magic bullet to change their life.
I thought it was funny when they were giving them weight loss supplements. Yeah, I was gonna say, it comes to find out it's only caffeine pills. It's like weight loss supplement.
They're giving us drugs.
Caffeine pills, guys. You can buy caffeine pills at Publix or your local supermarket.
Also, just drink caffeine.
Exactly. You could. Same effect. Now, you just reminded me. I have a question, and I want to know what your thoughts are. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna share my thoughts on this too. They said that one of the trainers said, I think it was one of the trainers. He said, once you're fat, you will always carry that chip on your shoulder, and it's like a monkey that always you have to wrestle with because you will always have the tendency of becoming fat again. What are your thoughts on that?
Psychologically, maybe. I can't personally speak to it, so I don't know, but it's one of those, like, I think it may be something that some people tell themselves. Because psychology is weird, man. Some people need a villain or an enemy to attack in order to always strive forward, right? Some people, it's like some people need that chip on their shoulder in order to be good, or order to be great. Some people take that chip or that villain or that enemy and they let it be the reason why they can't achieve things. So those are two separate types of people. Correct. And then there's a third type of person who's like, that's something that happened. That's not who I am anymore. That was a period in time. Yeah. So I don't know if that's all people who are overweight, but I think everyone who's been in anything has fallen in each one of those categories.
Correct. I actually agree with you on that. I'd be interested to see if there's a statistic on like when somebody heavy set loses the weight and then the rebounding weight from that.
I think it depends on how you lose the weight and in what manner, psychologically, emotionally, whatever, you go through that process, right? Because losing weight is, I'm not going to say it's not hard, but it's also not like impossible, right? And so like losing weight, being fit, whatever, it really just takes discipline, right? And that means discipline in all forms of your life. That means discipline in terms of, any substances that you may be taking, discipline in your sleep schedule, discipline in your water intake, discipline in showing up and going for a workout, like discipline in health in general. It just takes discipline. Once you get that discipline, it's not hard to maintain. Because you understand it as a way of life, not a time period.
You have to allow it to be almost like embedded into you, like a code.
And that's why I say,
computer code.
And that's why I say it depends on how you lose the weight. Because if you lose the weight fast, if you take a shortcut, right? Or you say, hey, I'm going to do a juice cleanse, right? I'm going to do a crash diet, right? And you say, I'm going to do it for 90 days. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to go get IVs, whatever fucking crazy shit people do. And what is it? 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work. But my point is, when you take those shortcut measures, you're not changing the underlying cause. And that's a lack of discipline. And so if you don't have that lack of discipline, you're going to fall back on, man, I could have like 3 or 4 cookies, man. I could have some ice cream to reward myself.
That one guy who said, he was like, next thing you know, I'm like, I look at the scale, I'm like, an extra 100 pounds.
But he's like, he gained 30 pounds in like 7 days. Like, or some crazy crap like that.
That's a psychological binge.
Right. And that's what I mean. So it's like that lack of discipline is why that happens. So I don't know if it's like, just because you're overweight, there are people that have lack of discipline in all aspects of life.
I've met a couple people that have lost weight and they were able to keep it off. They did gain some of it back. There's almost like a little rebound. But like, if I was to speak out of the circle of peers from growing up, going through school, and then seeing different things, especially now on social media. You can see some of your peers. You take a look, and some of majority do gain a lot of weight, right? And it is a lifestyle thing. I do want to comment on that, but I want to say that I know I can count the number of people that I've seen who were heavy set and lost weight and kept it off in one hand. My personal peers. And then when you look at the other side of the coin, I see more peers who are just, it's almost like, brother, I didn't even know you could stretch that big. Not to be rude, it's just like, wow, like obviously there's medical conditions that allow you to get bigger because there's metabolic diseases that go with it, metabolic syndrome.
But again, that is, depends on your mindset, right? Metabolic diseases, by and large, by the function of their name, are reversible.
Correct.
Right? Which means that there's something that had to happen for them to start in the first place. And that can be overeating, that could be lack of exercise, that could be drinking, that could be, not sleeping, et cetera, et cetera. But when you say metabolic disease, like if someone's got diabetes, yes, diabetes is going to cause you to retain weight and continue to get larger, but you got diabetes for a reason.
Correct. Right? It brings me to like, now I come off a little stern when I say all this stuff and like very convicted with like my thought process, but then it's like we're talking about it, like this stuff accumulates over a period of time. Like at what moment were you just so negligent and blindsided that you were like, oh, I'm going to wait 6 years before I address this?
You know what's crazy? As I had this conversation with somebody not in the fitness industry, I can't remember who I was talking to. Shout out to whoever is listening to this that I was having this conversation with that I don't remember. My bad. But oftentimes what ends up happening is the people you're around, the circles you're around, you are a product of your environment. So let's say for us, we work in a gym, right? We work in the fitness industry. By and large,
shout out to the Ludus Gym.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Ludus Gym. But by and large, the people that we orient ourselves around are people that want to be healthy, right? Or people that are already healthy, people that are working out or staying fit. But all the trainers in here, we see each other every day, and that kind of is your lifestyle. You live that lifestyle because the people you're around. So if something's out of whack, you notice it.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas, yeah, you notice it real quick. But or like you go pick up that weight, but man, I could do that, but I can't move it now. What's going on?
Sometimes when you put in the 45 for your client,
yeah, you're like, damn, what happened?
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or I'm sore. Like you start to you pick up on these things. But the reason why I say that is that if you work in an office, you're an accountant. You know what I'm saying? You're a teacher. You're a garbage man. Whatever it is, you're a firefighter. Maybe not firefighter, but you're a cop, for instance. Oftentimes, the people around you are also unhealthy. Right? And when I say unhealthy, I don't mean sick. I mean unhealthy from a standpoint of not prioritizing their fitness. And so when you have weight creep, when you start to gain weight, it doesn't look that bad because everybody looks like you. Right?
True.
If everybody around you looks exactly the same, you're never going to take introspection and be like, oh crap, this is out of whack. Until you get around somebody who don't look like that.
And then you're like, hold up.
Or you see a picture of yourself. You get that reminder, that memory from Apple or Google Photos. Be like, yo, this was you 5 years ago. You're like, wait, that don't add up. You know what I'm saying?
So you think you can drop down and do some push-ups and you tear your freaking rotator cuff?
I don't mean to laugh, but it's this shit that happens. And so I think that's by and large how people get to that point. The sad part is that when people do get to that point, is they don't feel like they know what resources to utilize to get better.
So now, with that being said, if you're watching this and listening to this, this is a great opportunity for you to check yourself, all right? Step outside your common circle of peers. Either seek a professional's consultation. Just say, hey, can you give me an assessment? Like, if you do a fitness assessment and you do a well-done one, you're going to notice whether you're in good shape, whether you're strong, flexible, and it won't be too much out of your comfort zone. It'll just be like a quick assessment. Another thing you can do is just get your blood work done.
That's the biggest indicator.
Yeah, if you get your blood work done, that can save you a tremendous amount of time and money. Yes, you're probably going to pay a little bit at first, but trust me, get it done, get your markers in, see where you're at. Another thing is, like, check yourself, man. Like, if your weight is over 200 plus, and you're not supposed to be in that kind of weight caliber, then you need to start talking about, like, what kind of foods you can reduce, Something as simple as just calorie deficit, right? Just eat a little bit of less of what you're already eating, and then you can start from there. But there's so many different ways you can start with your health and fitness that what's something that you say all the time? I love when you say this, a low barrier entry.
Yeah, man.
There's so many low barrier entries.
Pick the easiest thing, the low hanging fruit.
For example, just eat, like I said, eat less of what you're already eating is a low barrier entry.
A good way to do that, a quick way to do that too, is get smaller plates.
Small.
Eat the same food type that you're eating, but put it on a smaller plate. The plate will look full, but it's gonna be less total. Right? There are a lot of ways to do things.
Especially if you're the type of person who doesn't stop eating until all the food's gone. Like, I'm a visual eater. Like, I need my plate to be empty. Like, I will not stop eating until that plate's empty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're that type of person like myself, then get yourself smaller plates. And you'll be able to still achieve what your mind wants you to do, but then you're controlling your belly too. It's important, guys. Especially if you're a young guy, if you're a young guy or a girl, and you're like, let's say you're in your 19, 18, and you're listening to this, kudos to you because you're ahead of the game. But I'm assuming the majority of people that are listening to this are in their mid to late 20s, early 30s, going into 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. So if you're one of those people, then you need to just start acting today. All right? So take care of your food, take care of yourself. If you have a problem sitting down and getting up, that's a good assessment right there. Yeah. If you can't get up off the ground without reaching for help, good indicator.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And I say the blood work is the biggest piece. I would say, like, there are a lot of hidden dangers, right? You may not even know that you're dealing with high cholesterol, right? You can't see that, right? The cardiovascular risk you can't see. You may hypertension, right? Nobody's really checking their blood pressure on a consistent basis. Like, please get your blood work done at least annually, right?
So, know yourself a little bit.
Yeah, man. Like, you got to take care of yourself. You go out here and grind and work all the time and crushing it like that. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be around long enough.
And if you need guidance with blood work and stuff like that, reach out to us. We'll point you in the right direction.
I would say if you guys have any questions about fitness, nutrition, weight loss, strength training, whatever, just drop a DM to wherever you seeing this.
Definitely. Right. Let's switch topics real quick. I want to talk about let's talk about the personal trainers versus Instagram trainers. So I want to lead this conversation real quick. I thought about it. I chose to be a personal trainer way before it was even on Instagram.
Correct.
And I'm sure you did as well.
100%.
And like, when I decided, I was like, hey, I want to pursue personal training. My whole motto was because I wanted to help people.
100%.
So keep that in mind, folks. Like, if you're in this game, it's because you better want to help people. When you look at the personal training Instagram era, it's not so much of I want to help you. It's more like, look at me.
Look at me and they give me money. Yeah. Look at my workouts. Look how fit I am. Now pay me. That's really what the Instagram trainer is.
Moments where, and I'm sure you too, where we had to present ourselves on Instagram.
Yeah,
this is what we do.
Trying to get clients and things like that.
We're gonna try to get some clients, some leads out of it. And, I mean, yeah, there's been moments of success, but I can tell you right now, main business has been on the real world, word of mouth. Shaking hands, kissing babies, that whole campaign, right? So
and let's backtrack. So, like, I say the difference between a personal trainer, like you said, versus an Instagram trainer is a personal trainer will interact with people in the real world, right? A person who wants to be successful at this business will find people, will service people in a way in which they can help their community, right? Oftentimes, people on social media, what they're doing, and I don't mean to make this sound bad, is they're presenting themselves and their workouts or the things that they're doing from a standpoint of ego and clout, right? They're looking to see how many followers they can get.
What's the new challenge?
What's the new challenge? Look how heavy I lift, whatever, so that people can like their stuff and follow them, and then they can convert that into dollars. They're not looking for quality leads or people they can help. They're looking to get the most amount of eyeballs on a product, so that if they get 10,000 people seeing it and then 100 people are interested in it, then 10 people buy, they won.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the way they're looking at it. And they're not really trying to help you. They're putting out stuff because they're looking at a volume game. They're looking at numbers, right? Whereas a personal trainer, especially a high value personal trainer, shouldn't have 100 clients to where they're burnt out, right? If a high value personal trainer should have enough clients to cover their income or cover their bills and make us a nice daily life. And the reason for that is you want a personal trainer who can pour into you. You don't want a personal trainer who's burnt out, who's tired, who's just looking at the clock, waiting for the next person to come through so they can roll through the next session. You want a personal trainer who's focused on your goals. And so when you come in that day, they already have a plan for you that day. You're not getting the same workout that the last guy who's 50 pounds heavier than you, who's 10 years older than you is doing. No, you're getting something specialized to help you get to where you want to be. And they're remembering what you did last time. They remember what you did last week. They remember what you looked like when you first came in, and they're able to motivate you. That's what you want. So the difference between a personal trainer and an Instagram trainer and all these celebrity shit is they're just looking at a numbers game. You're not a person to them. You're a ticket. You're a dollar sign.
No, what you just said it right there. I was just literally thinking the thought came out of your mouth. When you're looking at social media, the first thing people ask you, how much do you charge?
100%.
Right? When I meet somebody in person, they're like, I have this problem. Can you help me with a solution? Very different interaction.
Correct.
Very different interaction. So in person, we get people who come in. Believe it or not, most people who come in for personal training are messed up. Mm-hmm. They are jacked up from head to toe, or they're like literally very fine-tuned, detailed-oriented goals, right? So like, hey, I'm trying to dial into 10%. Or you get somebody who's like, hey, I got a fused neck, and I want to be able to train and do certain workouts and not feel like I herniated myself and screwed my neck up, right? Yep. And then you got to take these people in these case studies, right? Like your online trainer most likely does not know how to train the 56-year-old with osteoporosis who has degenerated joints plus 3 herniated discs. How are you going to train that person, right? And then the thing though is like as a personal trainer, it's very important that you understand this. Our job is not to fix injuries or repair ailments, right? Our job is to teach people with these injuries how to train around them, right? So if you got a messed up shoulder, our job is not to fix your shoulder. Can that happen? Yes, it can, because exercise can correct a lot of things. But our objective is to teach you how to keep training, keep pushing through your challenges, because at the end of the day, whether your shoulder's injured, whether your neck's herniated, whether your knee's jacked up, whether your ankle's twisted, you still need to find a way to train.
You gotta find a way to move.
Show up. Yeah.
Find a way to be healthy.
And that's where our job comes in as a day-to-day person.
And it's interesting when you talk about like injuries and things like that. It's people with herniated discs or like ACL rupture or a bad shoulder, whatever it is, says, I can't do this thing, right? I can't do a step up, or I can't do a squat, or I can't do a lunge. Those exercises are bad for me, right? I can't do a push up, right? You don't know how to do it correctly so it doesn't hurt.
Correct. Right? You still can do the movement.
You still can do the movement.
Even with a ruptured ACL.
No movement is inherently bad, man. No. And if you learn the right muscles to fire and the right sequences to fire and the right ways to foam roll and stretch and do these things that can help take care of your injury outside of training, you should still be able to train.
I would say like a professional personal trainer is somewhere in the mix of athletic trainer meets personal trainer meets like fitness coach.
I would say the ideal, I think for us at the Ludus, if you look at all of our trainers here, we are some mix of athletic trainer / physio guy doing some corrective exercise and some manual therapy, stretching, things like that. General personal trainers like, hey, we're going to count sets of reps, right? A fitness coach who is going to motivate. Nutrition coach is going to give you advice and steer you down the right path, right? And then strength and conditioning coach.
Counted every single one of those things you just named.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you have to be, as a real personal trainer, as a real fitness professional, you have to be well-rounded, right? Being well-rounded means you can affect a bunch of different populations and help a bunch of different people without being lost. And another thing I'll say is, if you don't feel like you're well-rounded or comfortable with any of the things I just named, find education. Look for resources, man. It's out there. Yeah, and you know what? Here at Ludus, eventually we're going to start doing our own certifications.
Hey, listen, we run, what's the term? What's that? Internships, right?
Internships, yes.
We do offer internships. Now, they're unpaid internships because, no free lunches around here. We earn our stripes. Yeah. You got to put in the work. You got to come in on your own time. But the knowledge is here for the taking at the end of the day, because that's exactly what was presented to us. Obviously, we've taken the time and acquired all the knowledge base because everybody here at the Ludus is independent here. So every trainer comes in through these doors and runs their own business here. And everybody has a full roster of clients. So when you see somebody running their business, and we've been with this group for longer than the Ludus has been around. We just put the Ludus together and brought the team over, correct, the A team. And now we've all worked together for many years, and we see the capabilities that we have. And it's like, hey, you know what? We are the 1% of the trainers who can run the business, do things professionally, and you know what? Not have to rely on social media for business.
100%.
The post that we're making is because we're wanting to post it. It's not because we need to run ads. It's not because we need Instagram followers. It's because we want to share our journey. We want to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We meet people in real life We see them where they are, and we take them to the next level. The thing about working out is that it is for everybody.
100%.
There's not one person who should not be in the gym.
You should be working out until
you're in a
you
wheelchair.
put in the
Get your ass
grave.
in the gym. We actually have wheelchair accessibility into our gym, so there is no excuses. All right.
Exactly, man. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you start from. Just get active, man. And like you were saying about the people here at the Ludus, like we post this stuff because we want to share knowledge, but you know, we're also showing like what a healthy lifestyle looks like, right? And so it's not like, hey, look at us, like we want to puff our chest out, but we do want to be a resource for people who want to, you know, come and learn how to work out. So if you see something that we post, or you see something here on our page, like, and you're interested in learning, be it as a trainer or as a client, drop us a line. But this knowledge is here for free.
Client intensity and what the social media influences clients to want to have as goals versus where their goals really should be.
Okay. Give me an example.
So I have a lot of clients that fall victims, yes, because social media is a trap. It's a monster. It'll eat you up.
I know you're watching this on social media, but he's right.
So they watch social media and they get influenced by a lot of these challenges and trends and, let's say, lifestyles, right? And they want to get there. And for example, you'll get somebody come in, let's say a guy who's in his 50s, really never really worked out, did a couple of exercises, has a gym membership, you know, goes and does machines here and there at the gym, right? This is a case study. Comes in, says, hey man, I want to get to 10% body fat, right? The guy's around 32% body fat, but he holds it well.
Okay.
Right? See,
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Your facial expression is exactly right. So let's say they come in because they see on Instagram, they see some jacked dude, and they're like, and the guy's jacked, like ripped, single digit body fat, and he's in his 50s, and he's like, you gotta look like me if you're in your 50s. If you ain't in like me, then you're a vanilla, you know, soft, right? So then what ends up happening is that person now is like, hey, I want that goal. That goal has to be me because I fit that mix. That person just described me. I'm 50 years old. I need to be ripped, jacked. They come in, and I'm saying, okay, I can take you down this path. I know the path that you need to go down. I hope you're ready because it's going to be very painful.
And that's the hard part right there.
Let's stop for a second. Is it far-fetched to get a goal from 32% down to 10?
Is it far-fetched? No. Is there a time horizon on it?
Yes.
If there's a time horizon on it, then that's where the reality meets the road, right?
Exactly. So most people come in and they want that timeline to be 3 months.
Yeah, nah. I mean, you could do it, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of work.
I mean, 32% to 10%,
It's
bro.
damn near impossible, but
You
it's a
better
lot
quit
of
your day
fucking
job,
work.
and you better not have friends.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you coming in here twice a day, fucking sleeping in the, you're coming in twice a day, probably for some cardio, some workout, stretching. Like you're doing a lot. You're living this fitness shit.
Yeah,
at
and
that
then
point.
you're most likely not going to get to 10%.
And then if you do it that aggressively, typically when you get to 10%, especially people like that, they're gonna be like, I achieved this goal, I'm good now. They're gonna stop. And then they gain that shit all the way back.
And then
in like less time.
What most people don't understand is that based on that case study, a 50-year-old man who's 32% body fat and goes under that amount of vigorous stress, you will have diminishing returns. You'll now probably increase your cortisol level to the point.
1000%.
You'll reduce your testosterone. You'll
1000%.
increase your estrogen. You're going to get all jacked up and say hello to your man boobs.
Exactly.
And then your whole goal of reaching 10% is now combusted.
And you know
in
the
your
crazy
face.
part about that is then they would blame you.
Yeah. That's right. So that's where I'm getting at. Like, social media creates a facade of a goal for anybody, period. Because what you may not know is that 50-year-old person that is jacked with all the muscles is also taking a bunch of drugs. You don't know if they did plastic surgery because, believe it or not, a lot of dudes be getting plastic surgery to like look a certain way.
See Drake.
Another thing is that you got to compare statures, right? Like the guy on the internet, he might be 5'2", and you are like 6 foot something.
Yeah.
So then it changes the whole thing of, can that goal be my goal? And it's important that a lot of people understand that social media It should be fun. Take it like a grain of salt. Take it lightly, but be careful.
Social media is not real life.
How you use it as a motivating factor.
That shit is not real life. But on the flip side of that, talking about like client effort, right, and client goals is understanding. I don't think people who haven't done this before, haven't done it for a long period of time, understand what it takes to achieve a lot of the things they want to achieve, if that makes any sense. So when you talk about like how much work does it take to get to 10% body fat, right? How much work does it take to be able to bench press, a certain amount of weight? How much work does it take to achieve these goals? Most people don't understand how much they have to put in to get that out. And when you try to explain it to them, they think you're doubting them, which is very interesting, right?
And it's far.
It's like, oh, you don't think I can do that? I mean, no, but I understand what it takes to get there. I don't know if you're ready for that yet.
Correct.
I don't know if you're ready for that buy-in yet.
We want people to understand that, like, when you're pursuing goals in the gym, it's not that I don't want you to do 10%. I do want my clients to reach 10%. But to be quite honest, unless you're about to hop on some crazy steroids and do some weight loss drugs or something like that, you need to understand that this will take a long time because it requires your body to acclimate. You need hormones to respond well. You need your life to be balanced.
Yeah, most importantly.
Like, you can't be I'm going to say this. You cannot be 10% body fat if you're going through a divorce.
Nope.
And, like, you're fighting over custody.
Nope.
You can't be 10% if, like, your mom just died.
Nope.
And your job's creating stress on you and they don't care that your parents just died. Life happens. Stress happens. Chances are you need to manage your health first as a goal. So when people come in with this stuff, it's like, all right, we ask those deep questions. What's going on in your personal life? What's going on in your financial life? What's going on in your work life? Because if you don't have those things in order, the chances of you achieving that crazy goal of 10% body fat is going to be far-fetched.
Very much so, because it takes not only discipline, it takes balance.
It does. And you know what? A lot of the clients who do come in for that 10% goal, they have the idea of it, and then once they start understanding, wow, the amount of work I need to do, maybe let's
I'm good with 15.
Yeah, I'm good with 15.
Which is good, though. 50 years old, man. 15% body fat is impressive.
Yeah, and then a lot of times it's like you want quality of life. So you want to be able to, like, enjoy yourself, go out. You want to be able to experience, like, fun social outings. You don't want to have to be like, man, I'm so sore I can't move. Maybe once or twice a week, but not every single workout. You want to be able to feel like the workouts are actually making you feel good and not hurting you. Because as you get older, it's harder for you to recover, especially if you're trying to do this naturally. So that's where, like, having a professional trainer with you is very important because we can guide you through intensity levels. There should be waves of intensity. It shouldn't be just, like, redlining intensity all year long. You should have your moments where you're peaking, moments where you're kind of just, like, keeping in maintenance mode, and then other moments where, like, you're going to redline it and go all out.
Yeah, and a good way to think of it for anyone who hasn't been an athlete or hasn't been in the gym a lot is think of it as an athletic season, right? When you think of baseball season, basketball season, football season, or whatever, those athletes, the people who typically you're trying to look like that are in their peak form, right? They don't maintain, even the people that get on stage for bodybuilding competitions, like they're not maintaining that size year round, 24/7, or even that workout pattern. They have a period of time where their body's recovering, right? Where they're doing things a little bit lighter, maybe just maintenance. They have a period of time where they're ramping up and getting into that great shape. They have a period of time where they're maintaining that great shape. And then they have a period of time where they're recovering again. It's cyclical. And so when you look at like actual like strength and conditioning and like programming, right? You go, everything is cycles.
It's deloading,
correct,
increasing, peaking. There was one
fitness
influencer. His name was Joe Aesthetic. I don't know if you heard of that guy. So he was super ripped, and he was keeping himself like ripped year round, right? And as I kept following him, you started noticing injuries would flare up.
Yep.
He would tear this, tear that. Yep. And he would start to comment. He was saying, like, guys, the reason why all this is happening to me is because I'm so lean year round that my body's actually deteriorating.
It doesn't have enough.
I'm so lean. When you're so lean, your ligaments don't have enough fluid.
Correct.
Like, you need fat in your body so that it cushions your body, your joints, your organs, all this stuff, and then you can recover. You know, I was telling a client of mine how I do something fun. So every now and then I'll coast on the calendar year and use it to my advantage. So I'll bulk during the wintertime because you got holidays, you got Thanksgiving, you got Halloween, you got all that good stuff, Christmas. So it's like, I'm not gonna fight
nature, right? You're not gonna fight. You're not gonna fight life, right?
So it's bulking season, baby. And then as soon as January, February come, everything starts to lighten up. Then you go into more of like a slower process. You start to lean out, and then comes spring break,
summer, you ready to go.
Rift, you're lighter, and then you repeat the cycle. But it's one of those like little catches that I like to do for myself.
Yeah, and it just makes sense, right? You're not trying to crush yourself during the like socially busiest parts of the year where you're gonna be more stressed because you're not gonna have the regular normal schedule.
Bad about it too, man. They start shooting themselves in the foot. They're like, I'm on a diet, and it's like, why would you choose to diet during the hardest time of the year?
Yeah.
It's like, do it during.
Or why would you even start a diet on the hardest time of the year?
Seriously.
Right? Like if you haven't been doing this all your life, haven't been doing it for a long period of time, that's self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Because you're going to tell yourself in January, if you were dieting through November and December, that it doesn't work and fitness isn't right for you.
Yeah, and then I'm going to last topic, and then we'll stop here. But self-sabotage. How many people are actually addicted to self-sabotage?
Most.
Most people actually will victimize themselves on purpose because they're so used to being in that victim mentality.
100%.
Let's say, all right, I got my blood work done, right? I met with a professional trainer. Okay, I'm going to start November 24th.
Exactly.
Hello, that's Thanksgiving.
Right.
You really want to do that on Thanksgiving
Day
Day?
one.
Day one is going to be Thanksgiving Day. You're going to fight
the pumpkin pie and the fucking turkey and stuff like that.
Stuffing, the gravy. You're really going to fight all that? And then on top of that, social peer pressure.
Well, what ends up happening with that person is they started, right? Psychologically, they go in all gung-ho. They get there, and if they cheat, they feel bad. And it becomes a negative feedback loop. Or they stay strong, and they get the guilt from their family for not doing it. But again, negative feedback loop. They're just setting themselves up for failure.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that, man. So it's important that you pick the right time of the year to go after your goals.
Create healthy goals.
Yes.
Realistic goals.
So, all right, I'm going to leave you with this. What would be a healthy goal during the holidays? I would say the healthiest goal to do during the holidays is to increase your exercise.
Correct. It's
Don't
increase
worry
movement.
so much about the food stuff. Like, increase your exercise so that your metabolic rate stays either like balanced or it elevates a little bit.
Your goal is just to increase your movement, right? Not necessarily try to be so strict on your diet or nutrition. Maybe maintain it so you're not gaining weight, but just increase movement overall. Yeah. Take that time that you're going to be spending with family and the social activities. Make sure enjoy yourself, but maybe prioritize some walks. It's going to be cooler, right? Sun may go down a little bit earlier, but go outside and get some sun.
For real, like do a post-eating walk with one of your family members.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I heard on this cool podcast on the Ludus Gym, shout out to the Ludus Gym, that if you walk after you eat, it helps improve your digestion. If you don't want to be bloated after you eat all that food, 10-minute walk, go to the stop sign and back.
Easy.
Very easy.
Just somewhere.
Very simple for you to start, and like we said, we want low barrier entry so you actually have a high success rate. Because then what happens is you get that dopamine, you're going to want to do it again, and do it again, and then do it again, and then next thing you know, a whole year goes by, and then you've done something well with yourself.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. This was the Ludus Podcast. My name's Daniel. That's Brandon. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yes, sir.